what are React refs. Ref is simply a reference to any HTML component or React component in your app, in your web page. It is a way to access a particular element in your own component or in another component. There is a little bit of difference of how you can access the HTML elements in your component, that current component, and the HTML elements in another component, React component on the page. What we are going to do is we are going to look at how to use refs, and then we will talk about some of the practical uses of how Reacts and components can be used in real life. I have this very simple React application where there is only one component, input focus. If I go into that component, we can see that there is only one input element. And if I go to the page where this application is rendered, we can see that there is only one text input on the page. I will go to this component again, and inside the component I will create a ref. I will call it input ref, and I will use something called use ref, which is something that I can use from React. Use ref from React. Now what I will do is I will use effect hook and what I will do is input ref dot current dot focus, and I will do it once when the component is loaded, and I will provide this input element with a ref called input ref that I have generated. Now what this component will basically do is when the component is loaded, the focus of the page will be on that input control. And now let's go to that page again, and if I reload this page, you will notice the cursor is already on that input element. There you go. So every time I refresh, I see this border goes blue and there's cursor in the box. Now let's have a look at an example where you can use refs to affect a HTML element in another component. So what we will do is we will make a way to make this ref available to another component, which will have a button, and when you click on that button, the focus will change to this input here. There are some changes that we need to make to this component, and we will create a new component called button. So let's start with that component first. So we'll say change focus button.js. So function change focus button, and it will be taking a prop which will be a function to change focus, right? And it will return simply an input. It will basically generate a button. Type submit, and on click we are simply going to call function to change focus, and then we'll close it. That's it. This is what we are going to have in the button component. Now we're going to change the input focus component, and we will add two more things. One is forward ref, and the other one is use imperative handle. And what we will do is we will input, and this will be like that, just correcting the syntax. So we will wrap the component implementation around in forward ref, which will have props and ref, and then we are going to use, rather than use effect, because we don't want to change the focus on loading. Now we want to change it to something else. we'll say ref, and it will have a callback method, and we'll say focus, which will be a arrow function, and this will basically do input.current.focus. Now we will go to app.js, and what we will do here is we will import the other component, which is button, what did we call it? Change focus. Did we put the export statement in the button? No, we didn't. Export default change focus button, and now we go to app.js and we say change focus button, and we have it here. So we will display the input focus, and then we will display the change button focus. Now there is something that needs to happen here. We need to pass a ref to input focus. So we will say const ref to the input focus. Use ref and pass it null. Ref is input, ref to the input focus, and then on the button with on focus click, we are going to say change focus. So this is the method that we pass to the button. We need to define that method, change focus, and we are simply going to say that focus function, that focus dot current dot focus. This needs to be the name of the property that you are sending from the app.js. So app.js it is sending on focus click. So in the change focus button, I need to say on focus click to be able to call that function. Now if I go to my page, if I refresh the page and I click on this button, I can see the focus is on the text box now, which is in another component. So you are clicking a button in a separate component that brings the focus to a text input that is not in the same component but another component. So we will look at some of the common use cases in real life. First is when you want to bring focus on form controls when the components load. Secondly, you can do form validation stuff. You can initiate a CSS animation, and then the fourth is if you have a video being played in your page, what you can do is you can use the focus, for example in YouTube, when you click on the video, it pauses the video. So when you click on anywhere in the video, it probably is using the refs to the pause button, and it clicks that button to pause the video. So that's a very prime example of using refs. So video, pause and play. So that's it for this video, and we will be here with another video. Thank you.